Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to High Q, the distant cousin of sugary orange juice approximation High C. My name is Olivia Manning, and I'll be your host for today. As always, we have tonight teams from Bond County and Belleville East. Representing Bond County, we have William, Eli, Camden, and Colson. And representing Belleville East, we have Sean, Max, Vikram, and Raymond. All right. We're this far in the season, you should know the rules by now, but just in case you don't, I have in my hand a series of toss-up questions that I will ask to the room. Either team can answer for 10 points. The team that gets that question right then moves on to a bonus round, which they and only they can answer for 20 bonus points. But if they get it wrong, the other team can swoop in and steal for 10 bonus points. We will also have media questions, audio questions, lightning rounds, but we will cross all those bridges when we get to them. For now, the interruption rule, which you all know and have been told many times before, but I must reiterate because it is deeply important. If I am reading any question at all and you interrupt me to give an answer, if you're correct, you get your points and we move on with our day. If you get it wrong, the other team immediately gets 5 bonus points and they can then get an option to answer that question. So, if you're going to interrupt me, just make sure you're right. All right, without further ado, are we ready to high Q? Yes, yeah. Loud and responsive. I enjoy it. Our first toss-up question of the game. What author who described winter afternoons in a poem about an oppressive certain slant of light was a reclusive poet known Camden?
Emily Dickinson.
Emily Dickinson is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. The protected area known as Devil's Marbles is found in what Australian territory, whose capital is Darwin?
Melbourne.
Sorry?
Melbourne.
That is incorrect. Belleville East, your chance to steal.
Queensland.
Queensland is incorrect. We were looking for the Northern Territory. What god, who married Ariadne after she was left on Naxos, was worshipped by the Maenads? William.
Dionysus.
Dionysus is correct.
Nice.
Your bonus question, Bond County. What Roman general effectively ended the Second Punic War by defeating a Carthaginian army led by Hannibal at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC?
Scipio Africanus.
Scipio Africanus is correct. What particle, 3 of which combine to form a nucleus of carbon-12, is equivalent to a helium-4 nucleus and is named Camden?
Alpha particle.
Alpha particle is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. What team won the 2001 World Series after Luis Gonzalez hit a walk-off single off the Yankees' Mariano Rivera?
The Diamondbacks.
The Diamondbacks is correct.
Nice.
What 1889 painting, which a 2024 paper claimed showed hidden turbulence in its 14 whorls, is a Vincent van Gogh work? William.
Starry Night.
Starry Night is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. Joseph Lister pioneered the use in surgery of what class of compounds often applied to skin or surfaces to prevent infections rather than treat them?
Disinfectants.
Gonna need you to be a little more specific.
No, it's
All right, Belleville East, chance to steal.
Bacterial disinfectants.
Bacterial disinfectants is, again, we are looking for something a little bit more specific than that.
Alcoholic disinfectants.
That is incorrect. We were looking for antiseptics. What British monarch, under whom George Grenville served as Prime Minister, agreed to the Treaty of Paris in 1783? Sean.
George III.
George III is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. Critic Louis Vaucel coined the name for what art movement, practiced by Georges Braque and Marcel Duchamp, that emphasized geometric forms?
Cubism.
Cubism is correct. Our first media question of the game, please turn your attention towards the television. As of this year, this American content creator, Vikram.
Kai Cenat.
Kai Cenat is correct. No bonus questions on media questions, it's just whatever shows up on the TV. All right, back to our toss-ups. What crop, a domestication of teosinte?
Corn.
Corn is correct.
nice.
Your bonus question, Bond County. What policy was upheld by the 1944 Supreme Court case Korematsu v. U.S., which endorsed Franklin Roosevelt's Executive Order 9066?
Japanese internment camps.
Japanese internment camps is correct. What title character loves Adolphus Cousins, hates her father Andrew's arms factory, and serves as a Salvation Camden?
Barbara Frecci.
That is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What title character loves Adolphus Cousins, hates her father Andrew's arms factory, and serves as a Salvation Army major in a George Bernard Shaw play? Picker.
Pygmalion.
Pygmalion is incorrect. You were close,
Major
Camden. We were
Barbara.
looking for Barbara Undershaft.
Oh.
No bonus question there. Our next toss-up. What monarch who studied shipbuilding in Amsterdam while in disguise on his... Sean.
Peter the Great.
Peter the Great is correct. Belleville East, your bonus question is a math question, so pencil and paper ready. In miles per hour, what was the average speed of a truck that finished a 100-mile trip in 80 minutes? Belleville East, you are out of time. Bond County, your chance to steal.
$80 divided by 6.
That is incorrect. We were looking for 75 miles per hour. There's a mathematical explanation here, but I'm not going to read it out because I honestly wouldn't know how to. Our next toss-up question. What unit of radioactivity, which equals 3.7 times 10 to the 10th disintegrations per second, is Camden?
Decay events.
That is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What unit of radioactivity, which equals 3.7 times 10 to the 10th disintegrations per second, is abbreviated CI and named for a Polish-French scientist duo? Max.
Curie units.
Curie units is correct. Belleville East, your bonus question. What country in the Middle East is an archipelago whose capital is Manama?
Bahrain.
Bahrain is correct. What novel depicting the servant Conseil who accompanies Pierre Aronnax aboard the Nautilus submarine of Captain
Around the World in 80 Days.
Around the World in 80 Days is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What novel depicting the servant Conseil who accompanies Pierre Aronnax aboard the Nautilus submarine of Captain Nemo was written by Jules Max?
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is correct. Camden, we were just on the wrong sort of air, land, sea category. Your bonus question, Belleville East. What woman, known as the Sibyl of the Rhine, wrote the musical morality play Ordo Virtutum and was a medieval composer from Bingen?
Proust.
That is incorrect. Bond County, your chance to steal.
Collins.
That is incorrect. We were looking for Hildegard von Bingen, one of my favorite composers. Our first audio question of the game. Please turn your attention, or your ears, I suppose, to the speakers. This distinguished singer rose to fame with her second single titled Ocean Eyes, offering Vicar.
Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish is correct. Again, no bonus questions for audio. It's just whatever shows up. What activist who was captured at the Battle of Calderon Bridge was a priest who gave the Grito de Dolores? Camden.
Simone de Castillo.
That is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What activist who was captured at the Battle of Calderon Bridge was a priest who gave the Grito de Dolores to begin Mexico's independence movement? Sean?
Benito Juarez.
One more again?
Benito Juarez.
That is incorrect. We were looking for Miguel Hidalgo. No bonus question there. What show's spin-off novel, The Book of Bill, focuses on the demonic...
Gravity Falls.
Gravity Falls is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. The logo of the travel company TripAdvisor and mascot of the language learning website Duolingo are both what type of animal?
Owl.
Owl is correct. Our next toss-up. What organ removed in a cholecystectomy has a cystic duct that joins the common hepatic duct from the liver and is the organ that stores bile? Eli.
The gallbladder.
Gallbladder is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. What poem by Alfred Lord Tennyson is named for an aging hero who opts to seek a newer world and vows to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield?
Ulysses.
Ulysses is correct. What former church designed by Anthemus of Tralles and Isidore of Miletus did Turkey announce in July 2020 would... Raymond.
Hagia Sophia.
Hagia Sophia is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. By definition, the Einherjar are those souls who reside in what specific location within the realm of Asgard in Norse mythology?
Valhalla.
Valhalla is correct. What man who was assassinated by Pausanias founded the League of Corinth while king of Macedon? And William.
Alexander the Great.
Sorry?
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What man who was assassinated by Pausanias founded the League of Corinth while king of Macedon and was the father of Alexander the Great? Sean.
Philip II.
Philip II is correct. All right, your bonus question, Belleville East. What woman, who was Henry VIII's third wife, was the only one to bear him a living male heir, future King Edward VI?
Anne Boleyn.
Anne Boleyn is incorrect. Bond County, your chance to steal.
Jane Seymour.
Jane Seymour is correct. Divorced, beheaded, died. Your next media question, the television. This Netflix superhero comedy drama shares a name with rock singer Gerard Way's comic book series that influenced it. In it, a separated and dysfunctional fandom.
The Umbrella Academy.
The Umbrella Academy is correct. No bonus media question, just whatever shows up on the television. Our next toss-up. What airline whose flight 1282 suffered a sudden decompression in January 2024? William.
Boeing.
That is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What airline whose flight 1282 suffered a sudden decompression in January 2024 after a door plug blew out operates a major hub in Anchorage? Raymond.
Alaskan Airlines.
That is correct. All right. Our next bonus question is for Belleville East. Apologies, I set that out of order. What particle, which is responsible for the non-zero mass of W and Z bosons, was discovered at CERN in 2012 and is nicknamed the God particle?
Higgs boson.
Higgs boson is correct. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our lightning round. All right, the lightning round is just like all the other rounds. It's just a lot different. I have in my hand 4 topics. Those 4 topics each have 10 questions that a team could potentially need to answer in just 60 seconds. Bond County, you get full choice of which topic you would like to choose from. They are as follows: molecule abbreviations, literary mansions and castles, Emmy-winning performers, and Brown.
We're going to do molecule abbreviations.
All right. Answer the following about molecules known by abbreviations. Bond County, your 60 seconds begins in 3, 2, 1. Compounds like PVC made of repeating monomers.
Polymer.
Correct. Protective layer of Earth's atmosphere damaged by CFCs.
Ozone.
Correct. Ions whose namesake pumps are inhibited by PPIs.
Pass.
Ion added to ADP to make ATP.
Phosphate.
Correct. Substance whose liquid form used in rockets is called LOX.
Pass.
SSRIs increase serotonin levels in these spaces between neurons.
Pass.
Heat-trapping substances such as CO2, abbreviated GHGs.
Greenhouse gases.
Correct. Plant hormone, abbreviated ABA, named for its role in causing leaves to fall.
Pass.
Condition of redness and swelling in the name of NSAIDs.
Pass.
Rachel Carson book warning about the insecticide DDT.
Pass.
We are out of time. Protons are the ions whose namesake pumps are inhibited by PPIs. Oxygen is the substance whose liquid form used in rockets is called LOX. SSRIs increase serotonin levels in synapses. Abscisic acid is the plant hormone named for its role in causing leaves to fall. Inflammation is the I in NSAIDs, the condition of redness and swelling. And the Rachel Carson book warning about the insecticide DDT is Silent Spring. Belleville East, your options, once again, are literary mansions and castles, Emmy-winning performers, and Brown.
Brown.
All right. Answer the following about Browns. Belleville East, your 60 seconds begins in 3, 2, 1. City home to the NFL's Browns.
Cleveland.
Correct. Comic strip that featured Charlie Brown.
Peanuts.
Correct. Town whose federal arsenal abolitionist John Brown raided.
Harper's Ferry.
Harper's Ferry.
Correct. Animal whose brown variety has scientific name Ursus actos.
Bear.
Correct. Shipping company that asked, what can Brown do for you?
Pass.
State home to the Ivy League's Brown University.
Rhode Island.
Correct. Author who wrote children's mysteries featuring Encyclopedia Brown.
Pass.
State represented by Senator Sherrod Brown.
Pass.
City whose segregated schools were challenged in Brown versus Board of Education.
Kansas.
Incorrect. Singer of the 1967 hit Brown Eyed Girl.
Toni Morrison.
Incorrect. Shipping company that asked, what can Brown do for you?
UPS.
Correct. Author who wrote children's mysteries featuring Encyclopedia Brown.
J.K. Rowling.
All right, going back over the ones you missed. Donald J. Sobel is the author of the Encyclopedia Brown series. Ohio is the state represented by Senator Sherrod Brown. I was looking for the city whose segregated schools were challenged in Brown versus Board of Education, and that is Topeka, Kansas. And Van Morrison is the singer of the 1967 hit Brown Eyed Girl. All right, wonderful work all around on that lightning round. Unfortunately, they cannot last forever, only about 2.5 minutes. On to our next toss-up question. What measure of central tendency is 3 for the sequence of numbers 1, 3, 3, 4, and 5, and refers to the value of Vikram?
Median.
That is incorrect. All right, Bond County, I will repeat the question. What measure of central tendency is 3 for the sequence of numbers 1, 3, 3, 4, and 5, and refers to the value that appears most often in a data set? Camden.
Mode.
Mode is correct. Bond County, your bonus question. The Trask family appears in what novel largely set in California's Salinas Valley, a 1952 work that was inspired by the Book of Genesis?
East of Eden.
East of Eden is correct. By John Steinbeck. Our next toss-up question. What explorer who died in Cochin in 1524 was a Portuguese captain of the São Gabriel, who became the first modern European? Sean.
Magellan.
That is incorrect. Bond County, I will repeat the question. What explorer who died in Cochin in 1524 was a Portuguese captain of the São Gabriel, who became the first modern European to sail directly to India? Camden.
Vasco da Gama.
That is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. The deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history was the 1995 bombing of a federal building in what state's capital city?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is correct. What actor who played a writer in Field of Dreams and passed away in September of 2024 voiced Mufasa in The Lion King, William?
Chadwick Boseman.
That is incorrect. Belleville East, I will repeat the question. What actor who played a writer in Field of Dreams and passed away in September 2024 voiced Mufasa in The Lion King and Darth Vader in Star Wars? Sean.
John.
John is incorrect. We were looking for James Earl Jones, a true legend. Rest in peace. No bonus question there. On to our next toss-up. It's a math question, so pencil and paper ready. What only two-digit number that is both a perfect square and a perfect cube also equals 2 raised, Sean?
64.
64 is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East, is not a math question, so you can put that pencil and paper down if you'd like. In Roald Dahl's novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, What candy-loving boy is squeezed through a giant pipe after drinking from a chocolate river?
I designate a Raymond.
Augustus Gloop.
Augustus Gloop is correct. Our next audio question, the speakers. Tommy Richmond released this song that shot him to fame after releasing snippets.
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million Baby is correct. No bonus questions on audio. We just move on. What presidential election in which an electoral commission awarded disputed votes from states like Louisiana? Sean.
1876.
1876 is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. What 9-letter word describes flowering plants that blossom multiple years and live for longer than 2 years?
Perennial.
Perennial is correct. What character imagines being a Navy pilot and a surgeon before picturing his death, Camden?
Walter Mitty.
Walter Mitty is correct. Nice. All right, your bonus question, Bond County. What organic acid formed by fermentation of pyruvate is often wrongly described as the cause of the burning sensation of muscle fatigue?
Lactic acid.
Lactic acid is correct. What island, whose city of Saanich is in the metro area of the provincial capital, Victoria, shares its name with British Columbia's Sean?
Norfolk.
That is incorrect. Bond County, I'll repeat the question. What island, whose city of Saanich is in the metro area of the provincial capital, Victoria, shares its name with British Columbia's most populous city? Camden.
Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island is correct. Bond County, your bonus question. Which country gained independence at the same time as India in 1947 after British India was partitioned into 2 countries?
Pakistan.
Pakistan is correct. What composer who employed Sprechschema in Piero Lunaire was a member of the Second Viennese School who created the 12-tone system? Max.
Schumann.
Schumann is incorrect. Bond County? Camden.
Shostakovich.
Sorry?
Shostakovich.
That is incorrect. We were looking for Schoenberg. Arnold Schoenberg. No bonus question there. What language, which was used to write the poems Drinking Alone by Moonlight and Quiet, Camden?
Chinese.
Chinese is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. In the Spanish sentence ven aquí, the verb is in what grammatical mood used to give commands?
Assertive.
Assertive is incorrect. Belleville East?
Imperative.
Imperative is correct. Nice steal from Belleville East. Our next media question, the television. This actress's first public accolade was her Academy Award Vikram.
Angelina Jolie.
Angelina Jolie is correct. Back to our normal toss-ups. No bonuses for medians. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys this. There's no bonuses for medians. What moon, discovered in 1978, is more massive than its neighbors Hydra, Nix, Kerberos, and Styx, and is thus the largest known moon of Pluto? Camden.
Triton.
That is incorrect. Belleville East? Or Raymond?
Chiron.
Chiron is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. What 2-word term, often abbreviated CR, refers to bills used to prevent U.S. government shutdowns by maintaining funding at current levels?
Circulated register.
That is incorrect. Bond County, your chance to steal.
Circular receipt.
That is incorrect. We were looking for continuing resolutions. Our next toss-up. What activist, the main force behind 2022's The Climate Book, began the Fridays for Future protest by skipping Max?
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. The New River Gorge National Park is in what state, whose city of Moundsville is named for the nearby Grave Creek Mound?
Arizona.
Arizona is incorrect. Bond County, your chance to steal.
Kentucky.
Kentucky is incorrect. We were looking for West Virginia, good old WV. Our next toss-up. What author, whose diary was published as the book On the Way Home, depicted the big woods in her series of novels Little House on the Prairie? No Little House on the Prairie heads here?
Nah.
All right, we were looking for Laura Ingalls Wilder. No bonus question there. What color, which appears in the title of a 2006 album by Amy Winehouse, is also Vikram?
Black.
Black is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. In what African country were 19 people killed in violent June 2024 protests against a finance bill that President William Ruto eventually blocked?
Nigeria.
Nigeria is incorrect. Bond County or a chance to steal?
Kenya.
Kenya is correct. Nice steal from Bond County. Our next toss-up. What religious group waits in silence until moved by the inner light, was founded by George Fox, and are pacifists who colonized Pennsylvania? Max.
Quakers.
Quakers is correct. Your bonus question, Belleville East. In Voltaire's novella Candide, the philosopher Gottfried Leibniz was satirized as what eternally optimistic character, whose surname means all tongue?
Pass.
All right, Bond County. Chance to
Pangloss.
steal. Pangloss is correct. Dr. Pangloss. All right, our next toss-up. What city, whose name likely comes from the Etruscan for mouth, was the birthplace of Galileo and contains a campanile known as its leaning tower? Eli.
Pisa.
Pisa is correct. Your bonus question, Bond County. What set of numbers is the union of the rational and irrational numbers and is represented as the number line?
Real numbers.
Real numbers is correct. That is the end of our game. All right, this was a close game, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps the closest game of this season. We have Belleville East with 385 points, and coming in at the end, Bond County with 415 points. Congratulations to all involved. This was an incredible game, but especially to our winners tonight, Bond County. I am Olivia Manning, reminding you that at High Q, knowledge rules. See you next time, ladies and gentlemen.